Hello, I'm John Rossi, a touring drummer with a love of all things animal. When I'm on the road, I visit as many zoos, aquariums. Hey, wait a minute. What's going on? Hey, what's going on there? Hello? 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 We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you Rossifari Zoo news. News you can use from the world of zoos and conservation. Every week, we bring you breaking news and analysis from around the globe, featuring the animals you love and the people who care for them. And here's your anchorman, John Rossi. Hello, hi, how are you? Welcome back to Rossifari Zoo News, your look at everything going on in the world of zoos, aquariums, conservation, and general animal weirdness. For those of you new to the party here, this is a crowdsourced zoo news program. So if you happen to see anything that you think would be zoo news worthy, go ahead and tag me in it at Rossifari or at Rossifari Pod on the TikTok machine, or send it to me, rossifaripod@gmail.com, and I'll say your name in the credits, whether I use it or not. So that's pretty exciting, y'all. And speaking of exciting, this week has not been particularly exciting in my personal life, but it has been lovely. It was a week filled with Miles time, and it was a full family affair as we all piled into the car to head down to visit with him for a few days. Miles has a special relationship with Flam, our middle puppy, and it's been a while since he got any Flam time, so it was really cool to see them reunited. She just kept curling up next to him and just seemed so content to be there with her tiny little human who's not very tiny or little anymore. It's actually really funny. When I first got Flam as a puppy, Miles came with me when I picked her up, and they bonded immediately. He once said to me, as only a kid can, "Dad, I feel bad for you. Zoe has Paradiddle as her dog. I have Flam, and since Lexi died, you don't have a dog." Kids, am I right? This was, of course, before we got Buzz. Although, to be fair, I actually think the current list is that Zoe has Paradiddle as her dog, Miles has Flam as his dog, and Flam thinks she has Buzz as her dog. So, I don't know. Maybe I still don't have a dog. Maybe I just miss Lexi. I don't know. But all joking aside, it does make me really happy when I can have my humans and dogs together. So it was a very good week. I've also been back at Aquarium of Niagara recently, which is always a great time. And actually, I may no longer be the biggest celebrity, he says with huge quotation marks around the word, at the aquarium. That's because one of our sea lions has gone super viral on TikTok. There's a current viral video trend going around on TikTok right now to a song that this is a thing where they're like, "Wait, they don't love you." And the idea is that you stand still for a measure on the word wait and then dance during the next line. And Ari, one of the amazing sea lions there, has cues that allow her to do this perfectly. And so our amazing social media and training team worked together to get a video of Ari doing that dance to the song. And it's been viewed over 150 million times so far. And that's just crazy to me. That's insane, right? It's just her holding and then doing a little floppy dance. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's adorable, but wow, 150 million so far. But the cool thing about it is she's such a special sea lion, and they're actually going to be doing a live event on TikTok at 3 p.m. Eastern on the Friday this episode drops, where you can meet and learn about Ari. So if you're listening before that time, hop on TikTok at 3 p.m. Eastern and head to @AQNiagara on TikTok and check it out. Ari is such a sweet and goofy girl, and she gives the best side eye. And I'm really excited that she is getting the attention that, frankly, she really deserves. It's pretty cool. And then one final interesting thing that came up this week for me, I actually did an interview with somebody from Species 360, which is the organization that runs ZIMS, the computer program that is pretty much de rigueur at all zoos for management of records and all kinds of stuff. You'll hear all about it in that future episode. But I talked to this guy named Josh, who's awesome, and it was a really great chat. We actually met at the AZA conference, and it was a very cool time, and I was excited to have him on the pod. But what was even more touching to me at the end, after we were done recording, was that Josh was like, "Hey, I have a question for you about your Zoo News episodes. How do you do that each week? That is so much work." And it was really cool, that he realized that that is a lot of work, because I will tell y'all, I do put a ton of time into these. But it also was really special to me to be able to tell Josh that it's the Rossifari community that shares these things with me that makes my life so much easier. When I started doing Zoo News, it was crazy hard to put it all together myself. But y'all stepped it up, and y'all share stuff with me, and have helped kind of guide it and make it a community thing. And that just means a lot to me. And it was really, really special to be able to share that story with someone who realized how cool that was. So yeah, thank you all for being a part of that. And I look forward to sharing that episode with you down the road a bit. But that's all I got for the kind of intro stuff. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any Zoo News or any of our Tuesday interview episodes. And with that said, let's get to it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Ow, that's a funky monkey, tree kangaroo, or a binturong. It's Zoo News, yeah.
All right, so I was working on a bit of a deep dive headline story this week, and it got to the point where it got a little weird towards recording time. I don't want to go into too much detail here. I don't want to go into any detail because I want to make this story happen. But let's just say that I was working on a thing, and then the thing got kind of weird. And so hopefully it will be a future deep dive. I'd love to do something on it next week. But while I don't have one of my super deep dives that I love to do, I do have a headline story, and it's not going to be much of a deep dive, but more of a deep duh to me. And I do think it's worth mentioning and kind of a unique story. So a new study has come out that shows that if you really want to experience a zoo or aquarium properly, the best way to do so is to do so quietly. People find significantly more connection to the animals and even the plants around them when they are not distracted by other loud people or by being loud themselves. It can also make the animals more comfortable, leading to a better experience for the guests as they get to see more animals and more naturalistic behaviors. In fact, the study also found that many zoo guests would happily pay a premium for quiet times and kid-free times at zoos and aquariums, where the focus would remain purely on the animals. Along with the appreciation for the animals increasing when people are quiet at zoos, the study also showed that quiet people are able to learn more when they approach the zoo in this fashion, rather than in the more traditional day out to have fun and also maybe see some animals while running and screaming kind of way. Now, none of this is surprising to me, a person who loves nothing more than going to the zoo alone, in the off season, or if it's loud, putting in noise-canceling headphones. In fact, there have been trips to zoos that Zoe and I have gone on together, and the zoos were so loud that we just decided to both put in noise-canceling headphones and not really talk to each other. And if we did want to talk to each other, we called each other rather than pull the noise-canceling headphones out. So yeah, while this isn't exactly a shocking revelation to me, or probably to any of you, I will be curious to see if zoos and aquariums take anything from the study and apply it to how they move forward with education, or even just with the programming of premium events. I would love whatever the zoo equivalent of a silent disco would be. That could be a lot of fun. So yeah, interesting that this study is out there. And I do always love the science that just kind of confirms what we know, but still good that the study is out there and shows that. And so that brings us to a couple births for the week. Brookfield Zoo has announced the birth of another litter of meerkats. They actually have had this happen so frequently lately that the announcement was amusingly small, just saying that more meerkats had arrived and that they were adorable, as always. I mean, fair. Gulf Breeze Zoo has announced the birth of Chibuzo, a baby Nile hippo born to mom Cleopatra and dad Kiboko. The baby is doing well and is staying with mom and dad, so is already visible on exhibit. Though he stays so close to mom, he's not always super easy to spot or see. Darling Downs Zoo has announced the birth of 2 black and white ruffed lemurs and 1 ringtail lemur, all in 1 week. The primate team must be having an incredible time with these new little ones. And then last but not least this week, our friends at Adventure Aquarium announced the birth of 4 baby lesser Madagascar tenrics to mom Ruby and dad Jasper. Tenrics are really adorable, and the babies are so small and so cute. I really love the ambassador program at the aquarium, and I know the keepers are so excited about these little ones. So congrats to this incredible team. And then that brings us to our deaths for the week, and this first one's a doozy, y'all. So last week, we talked about the loss of Ginger, the 9-year-old red panda that called the Edinburgh Zoo home. Well, this week, the zoo has said goodbye to her cub in a shocking way. Veterinarians say that Roxy, the 3-month-old red panda in question, died due to stress caused by fireworks in the local area. There is even speculation in the UK that Ginger may have died from the same cause, since it is still unknown why she passed. Apparently, bonfire night celebrations in the UK have become even more ridiculous with their fireworks than the Independence Day celebrations in the United States, with people setting off fireworks every night for weeks before and after the event. This is a huge problem, as we already know that native wildlife and pets and livestock suffer extreme stress when fireworks are set off, and many animals die every single time this happens, even just small independent displays in backyards and stuff. And in this case, that also extended to a baby red panda at the zoo and maybe her mom, too. One thing that I find really impressive is that the zoo is using this announcement for more than just a chance to say goodbye, as it is promising advocacy to make sure Roxy's passing isn't in vain. The zoo is calling on the UK and Scottish governments to ban the sale of fireworks to the public, with displays allowed only at organized events with proper permitting. This is going to be a huge campaign aimed at making meaningful change for the pets, livestock, wild animals, and zoo animals affected by these displays every year. There needs to be regulation on the individuals buying fireworks. It's not okay. As I was talking to some people about this story this week, I commented that, like, whenever I hear fireworks going off, to me, it's like hearing gunshots going off. And I don't mean that. I kind of realize, yes, that's what they sound like, but that's not actually what I meant. What I meant is, like, it's traumatic in a way that I hear that and I'm like, oh, how many animals just died? Oh, how many, baby squirrels just got abandoned by their mother? How many birds just flew away from their nest and aren't going to go back? Like, terrible things happen literally every time I hear a firework. Just like, if I ever hear a gun going off, I would assume terrible things were happening because guns shouldn't be going off around us. It's not a great thing. So yeah, I don't know. Just I really hope that the Edinburgh Zoo is able to make this a thing and to help create that legislation, and just sending all my love to the team there. Cameron Park Zoo has said goodbye to Kenai, the juvenile black bear that called the zoo home. Kenai was discovered in Alaska as an abandoned cub, and he was rehabilitated and sent to Cameron Park Zoo in 2023. Sadly, he was found to be in kidney failure recently, and further exploration found a kidney tumor that was consistent with cancer. While both renal failure and cancer are not uncommon in bears, they usually show up in older bears, but Kenai was only 2. I'm grateful the zoo was able to give him an incredible last year after a really hard start to life. And actually, yet another juvenile animal passed away this week. The Calgary Zoo has said goodbye to Ayer, a 2-year-old western lowland gorilla. She was injured while moving between back-of-house spaces. The animal care team moved fast to try to save her, but she passed away from her injuries. The zoo will be doing a full investigation to determine if any processes or infrastructure needs to change in order to prevent something like this from happening again. Sending all the love to the team at the zoo during this incredibly challenging time. And then last but not least for the week, the Columbus Zoo has said goodbye to Pistol, an ambassador skunk known for her huge personality and unique quirks. Pistol loved rubbing limes on the ground and enjoying their scent, digging in the dirt for some yummy buggy treats, and most importantly, she loved taking on the role of taking younger skunks in the program in and helping them to build confidence, which is obviously an important trait for ambassador animals. Sadly, Pistol suffered from cardiomyopathy, and while the zoo was able to successfully manage it medically for a while, it eventually became too much for her, and the zoo had to say goodbye. She will be terribly missed. And moving on from the births and deaths, we get to our zoo news for the week. And we're going to start off with, I love this story. There's no other way to put it. And not just because it involves my favorite species and 2 of my favorite Canadian zoos. The Toronto Zoo has announced that Calden, a 12-year-old male red panda, has arrived at the zoo from Edmonton Valley Zoo. I wonder if Calden showed up in a little suitcase like they sent me. Okay, probably not because they're good at animal care, but the mental image is really cute. I'm just saying. But anyway, Calden was moved to the zoo for a very specific reason. He's going to be introduced to the baby red panda that is at the zoo right now who lost her mom earlier this year. The little one, currently nicknamed Biggie, is going to be getting an adoptive parent, basically. Calden is actually an experienced father, and Edmonton Valley Zoo has allowed him to hang out with the younger pandas, something that not all facilities do because not all male pandas are good at it, but it's really cute when they are. This relationship will hopefully lead to Calden showing Biggie the ropes of red pandaing. It's just a great story. It makes me really hopeful for Biggie. I am rooting for Calden and Biggie really, really hard. Oh, and speaking of Biggie, she needs a real name, and you can vote for it by checking out the Toronto Zoo socials. So go and do the thing. There is some news out of the Cincinnati Zoo that is both happy and a little sad. The ambassador dogs Moose, Remus, and Daisy have all retired from the Cheetah Ambassador program and gone off to live with private families, meaning there are no cheetah dogs at the Cincinnati Zoo. Each of the dogs has done incredible work when partnered with their cheetahs, helping the cats grow and learn to play with confidence. However, as the cats age, they tend to lose interest in their canine companions, and now all 3 dogs get to enjoy a lovely retirement. To be clear, this is not the end of the program at the zoo, as if they have cubs who need dogs, they will get puppies to grow up with them again. But for now, 3 of my favorite residents at the zoo have officially retired. I am so proud of those puppies, and I love that I got to meet them all, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm going to miss those sweethearts at the zoo. Actually seeing Chris and Remus play together when they were very young might be one of my all-time favorite animal memories. And I have a lot of those, y'all. But yeah, very special. So very proud, very happy that it all worked out and they did a great job, but also a little sad that they're not there anymore. The Dole Conservation Fund announced a great success this week. 6 months ago, 3 Dole pups were rescued after their mom passed away. They were hand-raised by human caretakers at Terra Natura Benidorm and have now successfully joined their family group, reintegrating to the pack in order to learn how to be dholes. It's always exciting when animals are hand-reared, but able to, rejoin their species, especially a social species like dholes. So very, very cool work with the hand-rearing and reintroduction done at that facility. Now, we have 2 stories this week from Woodland Park Zoo in Seattle. They have recently opened their new Reptile Realm exhibit, focusing on the herps of the Indo-Pacific island forests. The goal of the exhibit is to offer a complete story about the biodiversity in Southeast Asia and Oceania's tropical conservation hotspots, with reptiles being the star of the show. So it looks like a really, really amazing new exhibit, and I can't wait to see more from it. And the zoo has also announced that the birth window they previously announced for their orangutan Batu was apparently very much way off. She is doing well, and regular checkups confirm that the pregnancy seems to be going well. It's just not over yet, despite the zoo assuming the little one would have made an appearance by now. So here's hoping the news continues to be good and that the little orangutan appears soon. The Maryland Zoo has announced some very special new animal ambassadors. 2 rats. But these are not just any rats. These are hero rats adopted from Apopo. These rats are experts in scent detection, including being used to detect landmines and also tuberculosis. I love ambassador animals, but I have to admit there aren't many that have, saved lives. But hero rats, that's what they do. So the zoo actually plans on having the 2 rats demonstrate their detection skills for the public, sharing the amazing story of the work they do, which I think is really exciting. Although I do think it's a little irresponsible of the Maryland Zoo to be bringing in so many landmines to show. No, I'm kidding. Of course, that's not how they're going to do it. I'm terrible. Members of the team at the North Carolina Zoo recently spotted a rare snow white deer in a herd that was on zoo property. The leucistic deer showed up at a pretty incredible time because author Nicholas Sparks recently released a book called Counting Miracles, which features a white deer and is set on Purgatory Mountain in North Carolina, which is where the zoo is located. So this is either the most incredible coincidence ever, or the marketing team behind the book has gone way out of its way on this one. Loveland Living Planet Aquarium in Draper, Utah, has partnered with Utah State University, greatly expanding the educational opportunities offered at the facility. Students of the university will be able to study at the aquarium to work on a new minor in marine science, and they are also working on the possibility of adding a new major in freshwater and marine ecology. Students in other classes will also be able to go to the aquarium for additional learning opportunities for their classes. As part of this whole collaboration, the aquarium will be adding on a learning center, including 11 classrooms, 4 additional laboratories, and additional animal habitats. What a really impressive dedication to education. I think that is awesome. And then last but not least in zoo news this week, the Bronx Zoo float in the Macy's Day Parade is going to not only feature the depiction of multiple animals in their wild habitats, but also will have Broadway's Idina Menzel singing on it. Because if there is one thing I think of when I think of the Bronx Zoo, it is definitely the star of Rent and Wicked and Frozen, maybe? Well, whatever. She's got an amazing voice, and she'll be singing the hit song Defying Gravity. No, wait. I know that's the movie that's coming out now, but she's not in that. So it has to be Let It Go, right? No? Into the Great No? Oh. She'll be singing some song from a new musical that opens soon. I'm a theater guy, but even I find this weird. But hey, whatever. I bet the animals look cool.
Stereotypical animal podcast theme song. Here to bring you to conservation news.
Okay, so I'm just gonna tell you this, that and this is not a good week for conservation news. We have a few stories, and most of them suck, and one of them's just weird. But anyway, let's get to it. President-elect Donald Trump has announced his choice for the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, and while the choice isn't getting as many headlines as some of the other choices for positions he's announced, such as the anti-vaxxer who will be running Health and Human Services, or the alleged pedophile who will be Attorney General, the choice is still a rough one. Lee Zeldin is a Trump loyalist who has promised to gut environmental regulations, especially ones the oil industry is opposed to. In his previous political career, he has voted to cut EPA funding, scrap the agency's chemical risk assessment program, and has tried to block the EPA from taking action to prohibit carbon emissions and pollution. And this is the guy who is going to be in charge of the agency now. The League of Conservation Voters gives Zeldin a lifetime score of 14%, which, I mean, it's been a while since I was in school, but I'm pretty sure that's an F minus. Zeldin has promised to restore U.S. energy dominance, revitalize the auto industry, and to make the U.S. the global leader in AI. And you might be thinking, okay, all that other stuff really sucks, but why do you mention AI? Well, that actually brings us to our next story. So I have been pretty open about my problems with AI, as well as about the fact that I have certainly messed with it from time to time and have had some fun with it, and could see a time where it became a bigger part of, me having fun, but also my process with like the podcast and stuff. Well, now I'm back in the, AI is a problem camp, but this time it's from a conservation angle. So AI features, they run on servers that are hosted in thousands of data centers. And these servers and the data centers in general generate a lot of heat. Most of these data centers use water-based cooling systems, and these systems use a lot of water. Using ChatGPT-3, the previous gold standard of AI text generation, it was estimated that every 10 to 50 prompts that were put in used roughly 16 ounces of water. But recently, ChatGPT updated to ChatGPT-4. And on that, every single prompt, even easy ones like asking ChatGPT to write a short email for you, uses that amount of water. That's right. Every single time you enter a prompt into an AI generation program or web page, you are basically dumping out a bottle's worth of water. Every single time. It is estimated that by 2027, AI water usage is going to be the same amount as all of New Zealand's water usage per year. And it's only going up from there, the entire country. And as AI becomes more prevalent and more powerful, that's probably only going to increase. So yeah, it's weird as heck to think about something on your phone or computer using a ton of water, but AI really does, which is something worth considering before you decide that you're bored and want to see what a red panda would look like in a Boy Scout uniform or whatever. And heck, if you're really curious about that, then why would you be? But hey, whatever. You could actually go and find an artist, maybe on a site like Fiverr, and ask them to make it for you. You'll be helping an artist, saving some water, and odds are the artist will know how to do things like, draw fingers. Because we all know that red pandas in Boy Scout uniforms definitely need human fingers attached at the ends. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But yeah, AI, lots of water, bad for the environment. Cool. And then again, sorry this section is such a bummer this week, but we're not done yet. Turtles are obviously awesome, but unfortunately more and more people are realizing that fact, and that has led to a huge spike in demand for turtles as pets, especially rare species. Demand has grown in the US, Asia, and in Europe, so good job, Aussie listeners. And it is leading to a huge spike in poaching and actually is making the poaching industry, if you can call it that, far more ruthless for both animals and the humans involved. Which, like, when it comes to the humans involved, good. F them. But this is a major problem for multiple turtle species. We literally have poachers in the US grabbing turtles and sending them to China, and poachers in Asia grabbing turtles and sending them to the US. It's a whole, like, literal global problem going in all directions right now. It kind of sucks. So, it's a big problem. So, man, if you're considering a pet turtle, probably don't. But if you're going to, make sure you get it from a good place. Make sure you know the history of how it got to where you get it from. There are lots of responsible breeders out there that track all that stuff. And on top of that, turtle species require a lot of specialized care and conditions. So, like, if you do decide you want a pet turtle, make sure that you know how to take care of it properly before you get into it. One interesting fact is that if you think of, like, a filter, like if you get a water turtle, right? And, they say normally they sell these filters, a 10-gallon filter for your 10-gallon aquarium, or a 20-gallon filter for your 20-gallon aquarium. And it's normally recommended with water turtles that you get at least double the size filter. So a 20 for a 10-gallon, it gets pretty intense, pretty expensive, and that's just one small part of it. So, again, maybe we avoid the pet turtles in general, especially the rare ones. But if you do decide to go that route, make sure you know what you're doing beforehand. Welfare is important. Sorry, I went on a rant, but I like turtles. Anyway, we're going to end this section with a philosophical conservation question for you. We've talked about how a company is trying to resurrect the thylacine and the woolly mammoth. But now a different organization is actually claiming to have brought another species back from extinction. I'm talking about the quagga. And yes, that's right, they aren't planning to bring it back. They are claiming they have already done so. In fact, 10 of the animals exist again, according to them. To me, I say, I don't know about that. But all right, so let's talk about this. If you don't know, the quagga is kind of a pre-zebra. It's an equine species that officially went extinct in 1883 when the last one that humanity had ever seen died at a zoo in Amsterdam. The quagga looks very similar to a zebra, but the colors of the stripes are very light, and they stop towards the back of the animal, and they don't go down to the legs or anything. So they're less stripy than a zebra, and the stripes are kind of browner and lighter than most zebra stripes. So how has this species been reintroduced? Did the genome get sequenced? Did we use stored genetic material? Nope, none of that stuff. Instead, the Quagga Project decided to use selective breeding on southern plains zebras. The zebra that looks the most like a quagga, and they believe is the most genetically similar to a quagga, to breed for traits similar to a quagga. So now, these 10 animals that are alive actually look a lot like a quagga. But they are all baby southern plains zebras that grew up and are now quaggas? ? But they do really look exactly like a quagga. So is the quagga back? Did the Quagga Project, as they have claimed, reintroduce the species to the world? There's actually a geneticist that is interested in sequencing the genome of the animals, and they say that will give a definitive answer as to what the animal is. So what say you, Rossifarians? Is the quagga back? Or did this organization just make some zebras with a sepia filter? You tell me.
It's time for other news. It's time for other news. Hey, now, right now, it's time. It's time for other news. Hey, it's a segue to the part of other news.
All right, so a few months ago, I did a story about the fact that Louisiana State University had not had a live tiger mascot at a home football game since 2015, and that despite Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry encouraging the school to take their tiger, which does live at a sanctuary at the campus, to games again. They hadn't, and that's good, right? Well, the story got a new and disgusting wrinkle this week when a live tiger appeared at the LSU game. At first, I was surprised because I had read that the USDA had told the school that if they had their tiger, named Mike, attend the game, they would lose their ability to keep him. But it turns out this wasn't Mike, but a privately owned tiger, which is definitely a super good thing that exists and isn't a problem at all, he says sarcastically. The enclosure the tiger was in was really horrible to see. The cage appeared to be just a clear kind of plastic and mesh cage, which is barely longer than the cat itself. There are a bunch of videos of the tiger being transported to the arena in this container, and also videos of people pressed right up against the cage. There are so many videos of the tiger showing high-stress behaviors, it's just disgusting. The tiger, named Omar, was not funded by the state or the government or the school, apparently, though the government declined to say where the funding did come from. Omar's owner has been cited multiple times for instances of mishandling animals. Of course, that's the case. The owner, the school, the athletic program, and the governor should all be ashamed of themselves for doing this to an incredible animal. It's just the grossest. But on a happier college football note, the Ohio State University Marching Band put on an incredible performance at their game this week called A Day at the Zoo. The band created many formations of animals and even showed them moving around the field and stuff. It's a really cute show and well worth the Google if that is your thing. Marching bands doing formations of cute animals is a lot better of an option than bringing a live tiger to a game and stressing the heck out of it. Just saying. On the other hand, I guess as excited as I am about the performance, I do have to point out that having the marching band be present for a day at the zoo definitely goes against the study we talked about at the beginning of this episode. A quick update from a story from last week. Only one of the 43 monkeys that escaped a research facility in South Carolina has been captured as of when I'm recording this. One. So that's fun. Great job, guys. No notes. It actually has brought a lot of attention to the facility, and most of it is very negative. So I guess that's good. Maybe this will help them step up their biosecurity or just maybe go away. I don't really know a lot about the facility, but yeah, maybe just go away. And then last but not least in other news, the largest coral in the world has been discovered in the Solomon Islands. The coral is 112 by 105 feet, making it so large it is visible from space, which kind of makes me wonder how it was just discovered if it is so very visible. But hey, whatever, I digress. The team that found it from Nat Geo mistook it for a shipwreck at first because it is so large. It's honestly astonishing. This coral is bigger than a blue whale. So that's out there in the world, and I think that's pretty special.
Oh, animal holidays. Animal holidays. Hey!
Not a whole lot going on right now with the holiday thing, but it is November, which is Manatee Awareness Month. The 17th is Sea Star Day. The 19th is World Anteater Day and World Tamandua Day, which, like, fair because they are anteaters. And then the 21st is World Fisheries Day. And those are all of your animal holidays for the week. So remember all those times when there have been days with like 47 animals on them? Maybe we should move some of them to November. Just saying. All right, folks, there you have it. Another episode of Rossifari Zoo News is done. Yay! Well, except for all the stuff I say after I say that it's done. But hey, quick reminder that we do have a Patreon. You can support us for as little as $3 a month by going to patreon.com/Rossifari. And I'd like to take a moment to thank all of my patrons, especially my Red Panda level patrons, Dr. Laura Schenk, Dr. Stephen Williamson, Barbara Bennett, Jenny Owens, and Kevin Williams. I'd also like to thank everyone who contributed this week, including Anya Keene, Colleen Lenahan, Kim Cooley-Croninger, Carrie Kirkpatrick, Kevin Williams, Emily Rockbook, Dr. Laura Schenk, Jacob Zinn, Matt Patford, Jay Meredith, Ali Malensky, Kay Malensky,
The Malenskys.
Dr. Natalie Taco, Tiana, not Tiana, Tiana Bush, Holly Page, Dr. Zoe Rossi, Hope Agresti, Strix, Ann Yoshioka, Taryn Hanton, Elizabeth Charles, yeah, her, it's her, Elizabeth, Kristen Dickey, and Sam Evans. Thank you all so much for contributing this week, and a special thanks to everyone who lets me make fun of your names. I appreciate it, and I'm actually surprised at how many people reach out and tell me they look forward to those moments as well. So thank you all. And hey, we'll be back here on Tuesday with an interview episode. But before then, remember, friends, the words Newsy Credits backwards are Steider Kiswen.
The Rossifari podcast is produced, hosted, and engineered by John Rossi. Editing and fact-checking by John and Dr. Zoe Rossi. Our theme song is Sevens by Nathan Burke, performed by Nathan and John. Interrupting John theme and additional voices by Taylor Isaac Gray. You can reach John directly on Instagram and Facebook at Rossifari or by email at rossifaripod@gmail.com. Rossifari is part of the Daydreamer Media Network. Now, stop listening to me and go visit a zoo.
No outtakes this week because I'm